Hey folks, Mike Nagrant back with another edition of Food Critics Reading Menus. This time we have the venerable Ruby Tuesday chain founded in 1972 by a Tennessee frat boy named Sandy Beal. Now, Sandy apparently got the $10,000 in seed money from a Pizza Hut franchisee. So you have Pizza Hut to thank for the endless salad bar that is Ruby Tuesday. If you've never been to a Ruby Tuesday, it's sort of like all the riblets and none of the fun flair of TGI Fridays. It's a little bit of an early bird special type place. If you see a young person there, they were probably dragged there by their grandmother. Now we do have a rack of ribs, and I was here a couple weeks ago in New Jersey because, as you know, I broadcast from Chicago. But unfortunately, we had a little bit of a goodbye Ruby Tuesday situation in 2016. We had 11 of them, but they all closed down. But in New Jersey, the ribs I can assure you look nothing like this. And even though it says on the menu here, you will have no regrets, I would say I regretted that they were not really smoked or ever saw the inside of a smoker, and that they were lacquered in a really cloying high fructose corn syrup sauce. They certainly were not heritage breed, but they were pork, so you know what? They were still pretty tasty. Now, the bourbon chicken I did not have, but we see that it is not just single yum, it is double the yum, which means, I don't know, Rachel Ray, did she have a hand in this menu? It's possible. I mean, if we go up here, we see that we're supposed to get saucy with their signature glaze. So, now we're getting into the double entendres, and again, feels a little bit Rachel Ray-esque. A little bit of a picky kind of nerdy point, but I am a student of classification and naming. The ribs and the pork chop get called out, separate pork parts, right? But chicken is just generic. There is no like chicken feet well, they would probably never serve chicken feet at a place like Ruby Tuesday. But certainly no chicken breast, no chicken thigh. But then again, we know pork is special. So maybe I'll let it go. But we will see they're not good at naming and they're not good at classifying as we go through this menu at Ruby Tuesday. Now we can go to the appetizer section here. And as we look, very standard super carby fare. You are not coming to Ruby Tuesday to become a supermodel. You will most likely gain 5 pounds after you eat here. Now, while we're getting saucy, so are the shrimp. They're banging. And then in this world where, we have super hoppy IPAs and food extremes where the IPAs smell like weed and the hot sauce is filled with ghost peppers, a menage a trois of appetizers is not really an option anymore. We got to go four-way here. Now, while we're talking about sexual double entendres, we should also note that Ruby Tuesday is named after the Rolling Stones song Ruby Tuesday. What's interesting about that to me, of course, is that, like I said, this is an early bird special place. And I just can't imagine that copyright law must be that stringent because did the Stones really give their name to this franchise? It seems a little incongruous, right? Like it would be like the Mick Jagger School of Abstinence or like Keith Richards Knitting Factory. They just don't really go together. But we do have the name Ruby Tuesday because the Rolling Stones song became a hit precisely because it was on the B side to the A side of Let's Spend the Night Together. Obviously, snooty Brits in the late 60s were not excited about a song on the radio that was promoting sex and maybe sex before marriage. And so we did get Ruby Tuesday on the B side getting played a lot more. And that is why we have the name of the restaurant. Now, one of the subcomponents of the four-way sampler are the tater tachos, the authentic Mexican. Okay, it's obviously not authentic. But you know what? They do want you to pair it with Modelo Especial, which makes sense, right? Because Modelo is a Mexican beer, but it's owned by Anheuser InBev. So really, it's an English, Dutch, Mexican beer paired with a fake American, Mexican tater tot abomination nacho mashup, right? So that actually, I can totally agree with that. Now, as we get up here, this is what I mean about them not naming things too well. So, mild and flaky tilapia, Creole season topped with sautéed shrimp and authentic Cajun Parmesan cream. Now, the tilapia is probably frozen from Vietnam or the East. Sautéed shrimp probably also likely frozen from Thailand. If they were really Gulf shrimp or Gulf tilapia, they would probably be called out because that's the big thing. So I'm guessing this is really Asian seafood. Now, the other thing, of course, you see below is we have the Cajun grilled shrimp. This is the, deep in the bayou suburban boudin eating shrimp. This is not the urban French Quarter drunk on Bourbon Street New Orleans seafood. I don't really know how they make that distinction or if they're getting their shrimp from two different locales, but I always thought that was a little bit interesting as I was reading through this menu. Now, of course, we have a chicken section because you got to have chicken. But what I love here is that, like I said, you are not coming here to lose weight. You are not on the keto diet, and especially when you consider that not only do we have chicken and biscuits, but they're throwing chicken nuggets on top of this thing. Now they are mitigating the chicken nuggets with a veggie-filled gravy, so I'm sure it's only like 2,000 calories instead of 3. But it is what it is. Let's move on. Now, the reason that Ruby Tuesday has become such a great and big restaurant, although obviously no longer in the state of Illinois, as I told you. It is their Endless Garden Bar, which, by the way, is a little bit of a misnomer. I can verify that it's roughly 20 foot by 3 foot and doesn't really have everything you want. In fact, I was surprised. I don't think I saw any mesclun greens, which, that's become pretty ubiquitous these days. And it was more like romaine and maybe some butter lettuces and things like that. Though I will tell you the great part about the Endless Garden Bar is their pumpernickel croutons. They're actually legitimately pretty tasty. They're a little bit soft in the middle, but crunchy outside, and they've got the dark pumpernickel crust. So if you're in the New Jersey area and you're eating at Ruby Tuesday, man, definitely check out the pumpernickel and the Endless Garden Bar. But also at $10.59, not sure it's an incredibly great deal. Don't love it. The other thing that's interesting is Ruby Tuesday was founded in the 70s, like I said. It was founded on this idea of the endless salad bar. Ruby Tuesday is very similar to our local Let Us Entertain You. Rich Melman founded also funny named restaurant, Lawrence of Oregano and R.J. Grunt, which also was founded with a salad bar. So, salad bars in the 70s were pretty hot. Speaking of the part of the menu where names have no meaning whatsoever, we do have the barbecue chicken Cobb salad. As you would imagine, a national chain is going to take advantage of terms that are familiar to people. But the Cobb salad itself historically was invented in LA, I think at the Brown Derby. Blue cheese, avocado, their own specific dressing that was kind of a tangy dressing. Here, though, we have cheddar cheese, corn, barbecue ranch, red peppers. Obviously, this is not a Cobb salad. But you know what? Hey, like I said, words have no meaning. In fact, you'll see that you can get the ribs Nashville hot, which is a little bit weird because Nashville hot previously was confined to fried chicken that was invented in Nashville. The story goes that predominantly African-American, Thornton Prince III, his girlfriend found out maybe he was cheating on him, so she threw a bunch of cayenne on his fried chicken, but instead of him getting angry or having to drink like a fire hose of water, he loved it and he opened up a chicken spot serving Nashville hot fried chicken with tons of super hot cayenne sauce. Became a big phenomenon, right? But as usual, like a bunch of white people stole the idea, opened their own chicken shacks and popularized it. And of course, white-owned franchise got in on the action. And now, not only do we have Nashville hot baby back ribs, it is probably just a matter of time before we get Nashville hot donuts and things like that, right? So we're going to switch over again. We do have like standard burgers, frizzled onions, barbecue sauce, piled high with all kinds of cheese and avocado and things like that. Not really much to see here. We do, of course, also have a steak section, which, every mom and pop or independent restaurant also always has steaks. You got to have your beef. People cannot live without it. Not really much going on here, but what I do love, of course, is that you cannot just have a steak as a meal. You also have to add on the crispy shrimp, the hickory bourbon chicken, and the half rack of ribs. And, why stop with steak, as the menu say here. Now, again, along this idea of not naming things too good, farm-style fixins, right? Which, by the way, we got the apostrophe. I'm not really sure these fixins are owning anything, so maybe, although I suppose you could use the apostrophe as a contraction for fixin being short of the word fixing, so maybe that is okay. Sorry to get a little too grammatically correct on here. What I will say is I do not know what farm the mac and cheese grows on, so it doesn't really seem like a farm-style fixin. Tater tots, not really from the farm, although I suppose the potatoes are themselves. So, hey, this has been a review of Ruby Tuesday's menu, Food Critics Reading Menus. I'm Mike Nagrant. I hope you enjoyed it.